All right, what's going on, guys? Hopefully, this is working well. Hopefully, you can all hear me. Not sure how everything is going to go, but we will see. Let me go ahead and drop the link. So, anyone who comes in can join. All right, what's up, Avoid Ice? Oh. Hopefully, we can get Coffee and True Crime, or actually, I think her name changed now. It used to be Coffee and True Crime Sleuthing. Hopefully, we can get her in and up here. Hopefully, I didn't wait too long. Hey, Catherine. Oh, using StreamYard this time. Let's see if this is better. OBS, it was lagging really bad earlier. Not sure what this one's doing, but hey, we can always find out, right? Are we? There we go. Are we? Yeah, that looks a little better. That looks a little better than it did earlier. Not not great, but not terrible either. And at least my chat's here so I can actually see it without having to try to click 100 different things and not be able to pay attention to what's going on. But yeah, anybody anybody got anything they'd like to talk about as far as the cases are concerned, or even the Anna Walsh case for that matter? That's a crazy one. Can't believe they haven't charged him with murder yet, but I guess they're waiting, like in the Quentin Simon case and every other case that we've seen so far where they don't arrest anybody until the very end. The Brian Koberger situation is actually different for once for the last 4 or 5 months of true crime. I'm glad this one isn't lagging, or isn't lagging as bad at least, because that one was rough. The last one, I just couldn't. I kept looking at it and watching it mess up. Medici D, is that how you say that? We're looking at every avenue, and we have other agencies reaching out to us with other cases and stuff that we're going to follow up on those, he told reporters. Yeah. I guess that's Moscow police looking at every avenue it could have been. I'm sure they are. I feel like Lee Myrick, the disposal of the weapon, I feel like that's probably going to be somewhere in the area between the house and where he turned his phone signal back on. I can't imagine that he would turn his phone signal on and then drive to where he was going to dump the weapon. So it seems like it would be in between, but maybe he kept it till later. I don't think that he would have kept it until, you know, on his way to Pennsylvania a month later, but I think he probably dumped it right in that little time frame. Let's see. This again. Drop this in case it didn't go last time. But yeah, anybody that wants to pop up and come on and talk about something, hey, all good. And anybody that knows about using StreamYard, if you want to come up and try to walk me through some stuff, like how could I play video in video on StreamYard? How does that work? What layout do I use and how do I bring it up? Let's see, present, video file, share screen. Okay, I think that's how you do that probably. But yeah, his car must have had a lot of evidence. Maybe. I mean, he did clean it out a couple times. I think that they have to find blood in the car or DNA of the victims at the least to really say that they know they have their guy. Because I get the DNA at the scene, that's a good one, but defense can poke holes in that. But if they had blood in the car or DNA in the car, I feel like it would be airtight at that point. And they got the car, so maybe they'll find that. Who knows? Um, I hope we know when they find out, and we don't have to wait till March, April, May, June to figure out, what else they have against him if they have other stuff. I don't know what keeping it a secret. Once they know, I don't know what keeping it a secret would really benefit them, as because they're getting ready for a trial now. They'll start interviewing people for jury probably at some point, and then those people will be told not to look into the case at all. So hopefully we don't have to wait too long, or at least we find out the case against Brian and Brian's pretty much what his lawyers say before June. But who knows? Yeah, I doubt we'll be told either. I doubt they're going to tell us too much because they're worried about us, online sleuths doing some crazy stuff and contacting people and threatening people. That's wild to me. I can't believe people actually do that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to do the car pretty thoroughly. I'm curious, would his defense attorney ask BK to explain to them why his DNA was on the sheet? Would they suggest, or, oh my bad, let's show that. Would they suggest or make up reasons why it could have been there? That's, I think that they would probably argue to begin with that just because his DNA was on a sheet at the scene doesn't mean that he was at the scene when that happened, and doesn't mean that he's the one that killed him. It's a piece of property he could have touched at any time to put the little touch DNA. And then they'll probably argue if the prosecution's pushing hard for the DNA on the sheet, if that's their only DNA, then the defense would probably go into, well, we don't know, whatever his story might be for why his DNA would be on the sheet. That's where his criminal justice and criminology background, I feel like, comes in the best, and psychology. Can't forget psychology, but that's his story. His defense is basically going to be his story, his tale of events that went on for him that night, and what he can prove on that, and anything that he can prove about that night that can cast doubt on whether he was the one who went to their house. Like, for all we know, he could have went in that area and somebody suggested Enon Harsh, right? For all we know, he could have went to Enon Harsh's house and been hanging out there, or another neighbor, since Enon was at work supposedly until around that time. But he could have been anywhere in that area for the phone pings to come out to say that he was at somebody's house, and might have somebody to say, yeah, he was there. And then what are we looking at? Until we know what his defense is, what his story is, there's no way we can really know that the police have the story right. Is this my favorite case so far? I don't know that I have a favorite case. The case that bothered me the most was Quentin Simon, but it's because I got little boys, and the belt bruises, stuff like that just stuck out way too much. Oh, until somebody comes up or actually get somebody on stream to talk to, then no reason to have the headphones on, right? I feel like I'm screaming when I'm talking in them because I can't hear myself. It's I think the Quentin Simon case was the one I was most emotionally invested in. This case, I feel like it's aside from the trial, I feel like it's over in the police's eyes. You welcome to come up, crime sleuthing. Um, here, let me do that again, in just in case it's not there. But what was I saying? Completely lost what I was talking about when I did that. But yeah, Quentin Simon, I was most emotionally invested in that. This one, it seems like it's pretty well over with because they've got a suspect. This is all going to trial. They say they're not looking for another person. Now, they could surprise us because it's not like they've been forthcoming with, you know, everything that they have quickly. They're making sure constantly. Hey, you there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
I can. I can hear you just fine.
All right, good. How are you?
Pretty good. Tired.
Good.
It's been a busy, well, really a busy last couple weeks. This whole year so far has been hectic.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it feels like it's something you coming out every day with the Brian Koberger stuff, but half of it doesn't even seem relevant to the case. And
Yeah, like half of it's rumors.
yeah, and just things that don't matter anyway, like the girl who went on the date with him 8 years ago. Who cares?
Yeah.
He's had a 28-year life. Your one date isn't going to tell us that much about him. All his friends that came out and gave us character descriptions, those mattered, but who cares that somebody went on a date with him 7 years ago? Why are people so obsessed with that stuff? And
They
then,
I think it's a desire to understand why. You know, what happened with him, what made him the way he is, you know.
well, that's definitely. I wonder why. What did the police believe the motive for him is here? Because they've said, they think it's a targeted attack. They've got him. They think it was him. They say that he was in Moscow in the area. Moscow. How do they say it? I know they have a certain way they want it pronounced.
Moscow.
Moscow. Okay. I'm just gonna let that one go. But
At least
he
you say vigil correctly. Other people say visual and it drives me crazy.
but if they I lost where I was again. I'm just not with it.
I had mentioned that I think it was all of this speculation comes out of a desire to figure out, you know, what made him the way he is.
Right. And what his connection is to this case. That's where I was going with that. Like
There you go.
why is he connected to this case? Does he know any of them? If he doesn't know any of them, does that seem like a strong case against him? It, it's almost like he just picked random people and decided to attack them for no real clear reason. That feels
Mm.
like a weak case for the state. That doesn't feel
Yeah,
like an easy case for them to prove when all they have is touch DNA on the button of a knife sheath. Which I guess it really could be argued that he looked at that knife at the store and had looked at it, had no connection with none of them, and then afterwards somebody bought that knife and used it for that, and his touch DNA was still there from the store. I mean, that's not much. It,
Medicine
in
D
a
wraps it
scene
up. We
like
can all
that,
stop speculating. You nailed it. He's a serial killer. That's why. Discussion over.
oh, well, was Moscow, not Moscow. Gotcha.
Moscow.
Moscow Pico train.
There you go. Try to remember it that way. Moscow. Go. My
But yeah,
dog's Roscoe Pico.
really? Wow. Where are you from? I thought you were from like the Midwest. You
Oklahoma.
Dukes of Hazard.
My voice is all nasally because I haven't been feeling well. I'm worried I might actually have the COVID,
Oh well,
but
hopefully
maybe
not.
not. I think it's just cold. I was exposed, so I was like quarantined. This is like day 6 or 7, and I've been pretty much okay, so I'm not too worried about it.
Oh, that's good. So, what? Explain the incel Papa Roger stuff to me. Do you know a lot about that?
Um, Probably not much more than anybody else, really, because I didn't really take it too seriously. People were drawing a lot of connections that I'm not sure were there. They put up his post next to Brian Koberger's known survey, and they were saying that he was asking questions that were similar. He was asking questions as Papa Rogers that were similar to what he actually wrote himself in the surveys. I didn't see that when I looked at them, but he very well could be Papa Rogers, absolutely. And I mean, I think he was out here somewhere as some name, but I don't think he would have been that obvious.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't when I look at him, I don't see an incel necessarily. His personality could completely be that way though. I mean, there's plenty of people who you wouldn't think would be that way, but incel, like involuntary celibate, can't talk to women, can't get a girlfriend, like, but they want to because it's
right.
involuntary,
Yeah, they
so I just have a hard time seeing him as that in a college town. That guy. He's not like a absolutely psychotic looking person like he looked in his mugshots or when he had the suicide shouldn't have said that, but the self harm vest and clothes and stuff on. I don't think he
well,
looks like an incel, but he could be, I guess.
I think he is. I think he's like a 28-year-old, probably even a virgin. Um, the only girl that has come forward about dating him was 8 years ago,
Yeah, but that was
and
just a Tinder date. He was a heroin
yeah,
addict, so he was around drug culture. I doubt he would. I mean, there's trying to think of how to say what I almost said without making everybody upset.
and that's a
Different
filter.
groups of people have different
No.
standards,
We like that you don't
so
have much of a filter. It's okay.
yeah, that could have triggered though. Um, but different groups of people have a lot of different standards, and as far as with a crowd of people doing heroin, I don't feel like he would be the worst person in that group. So it's all relative. Like he might not be a ladies' man, but I doubt that he's an Andrew Tate hates all women type of, or not Andrew Tate follower that hates all women and thinks that they should, be less than. I don't know if he's that way. And I mean, he killed a guy too. So I don't know. I just have a hard time seeing it. If he's the Papa Rogers guy, I completely understand why everybody says that. But if he's
I
not, is he like he just doesn't come off that way. He seems more narcissistic, thinks he knows everything, thinks he's smarter than everybody else in the room. And those
mm,
people usually have more confidence when they speak to people. And then the more confidence you show, the less you're going to come off. I don't feel like you're going to be involuntarily celibate at that point when you're like cocky, arrogant, confident, however you want to describe it, around people, especially with the class of like drug addicts, you know,
hmm Well, I
going
think
for a PhD. There's plenty of people who would just want to hook themselves to the trailer
mhm.
to be somebody in life because they won't be any other way.
I think that incels go a little deeper than that, though. It's deeper than just sex to them. They want love. They want an actual relationship, marriage, family, all that. But their self-esteem is so low, they feel like they can't get it. They can't get that. They can get hookups. They're known to have hookups, but they're not known to form actual relationships. So then they start getting a growing hatred toward their, I want to say opposite sex, but there are gay and bisexual incels as well. So believe it or not,
See how
that
you're doing it. Um,
so whatever whoever they want to be with, they can't find their partner, and so they develop a hatred for that. You will see incels who are even gay, and they have anti-gay um, rhetoric going on because they start to hate themselves as well, you know. And same for heterosexual males. They start to hate themselves, and there are females as well.
yeah.
It's more
I
rare.
mean, I could see it. If you don't have empathy, it'd be really hard to have a relationship with anybody to show any compassion or love at all to anybody if you don't care how they
Yeah,
feel. It seems like that just wouldn't exist. So then maybe that pushes you that way. But I don't know. I just if they say that he's 100% Papa Rogers, that is his account, then I'm all for the incel train because
yeah, yeah,
those
yeah,
posts were definitely in that area.
for
But
sure. Yeah, and that's why I said I think he is. I think he is. But I don't know if he was Papa Rogers.
right.
Um, there there were the phone calls into the other two channels. I think that was him.
You think that was him that called
Uh
T
huh.
Rev's show?
Uh huh.
I
And he
thought
called
T
Ichabels
Rev
too.
I thought T Rev debunked that though.
No, he didn't. He said that he pulled it up and he did like a reverse number search on it and it came up with that name. But I could do that right now. You could call my text free number and it has, excuse me, I'm sorry. It has a completely different number than my cell number and it has a different name. Anybody can do that with text free.
Yeah.
And
And
and that person has never contacted him back. He's called him a whole bunch, sent him texts and everything, and he's never responded. So that's kind of weird.
yeah, maybe it was him. I haven't even listened to it. I thought at the beginning people were saying that it was debunked, but he called Ickett Show too, the same person? Is
The
that like the
same
same
voice, yeah.
voice?
I have it on my channel and on my Twitter. Actually, you can just go to the source. T Rev has it on his the voice comparison between his phone call and the voicemail that Brian left for his hairdresser. He put
Oh,
those two together and sure sounds a lot like to me. But it sounds like the caller kind of tried to disguise his voice a little bit. Although, you know, we can kind of hide our voice a little bit. Some are more skilled than others.
yeah.
But
Well,
we
every time
do.
I record myself, I sound different,
Oh
or
my
I
God,
feel
me
like I
too.
do.
Me too. Me too. Sometimes I sound more high, sometimes I get low. Depends on if I've got allergies going on, you know, if I'm going to sound nasally or whatever. We all sound different all the time. But if you're trying to hide your voice, you tend to talk a little slower, a little deeper. I don't know. It's interesting to me. He was out there somewhere trying to get his nose in the case.
Yeah. Oh, he was definitely watching. He was definitely all into it. I wonder if that's going to show on his history, his phone, his YouTube history, his whatever history, whatever he was watching,
Mm-hmm.
whatever numbers he called, that should all come through. We should know if we know about all the Reddit posts and everything else. It seems like that would have came out though. I don't know. Who knows what comes out on this case?
I
It's
know,
the weirdest
right?
flow of information. It's like we get a gag order, nothing's going to come out, and then every day for a week something else comes out from somebody who's not completely verified but close to it, and then half of it's true and half of it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's I literally like wait a day. If even if it's something that really catches my
Me too.
attention, I wait
Yeah.
a day before I even talk about it because,
Yeah. You will
you know,
never hear something first on my channel.
yeah, I'm not breaking news,
No.
that's for sure. I've made like
No.
3 videos, like, so far on this case that by the time it uploaded to YouTube and was ready to post, I was like, "Yeah, that's irrelevant."
I
Just
know I've done that
delete
too.
it.
I've deleted so many videos that I started working on, and then something was debunked better than what I was just doing, or it was completely false. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh wait a minute, shouldn't put that. I had to delete one video too that I put up that I believed. I really believed it, and then it came out the next day that it wasn't true, and I was like, oh crap.
And it's me, hi. I appreciate the I guess it was a super chat or a super sticker earlier. I didn't see it when I was live a while ago, but since you're in here now, I saw it after, so I appreciate that. I
Yeah,
didn't want it to go unnoticed.
yeah,
Um,
how sweet.
but it said I'm a big fan, if anybody's wondering. But that's all it was. I couldn't figure out how to get my chat in the last live stream. Every time I try to pull it over to make it be out of the way where I could see it. Anytime I clicked for the video, it would go back away and I had to bring it back up. I was struggling bad earlier. Like I said, I'm not a
Oh,
live
you're fine.
streamer. I'm
Well, do you have? I have two monitors. That's the only way I could possibly do anything. I have to have two monitors.
Yeah, I need to add another I've got another monitor. I just don't have it hooked up. I need to add that to it if
It
I'm going
makes
to
it
do
so
that.
easy because you can have your window that you're working on, over here, and then what you want people to see, pull it over to the other
Yeah.
screen. So easy. I love it. But I are you using I don't know, I just went blank. OBS?
I was using OBS earlier. Yeah. I'm on
Why?
StreamYard
Are you
by
just
itself
jumping right
right
into the
now.
deep end? Are you crazy?
I just like OBS because I can actually bring my videos in and play them without having to download them or anything. Just use
Yeah, yeah,
web
yeah.
capture and put it. So as when it
It's
comes to
so
this, I'm
difficult
completely
though.
lost.
OBS is not easy. I use Prism Live, and it's like OBS Lite, and it's free. I love it.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've got OBS figured
No,
out
no
as far
decision.
as the setup goes, and I can't turn the camera for anything in it, but as far as just being able to put things where I want to do a reaction. Where I was using the green screen before, it made it great because then I could just put myself right in front of the stuff. Now I have
Right,
to be in
right.
a little box in the corner, I guess. But
Yeah, that's what's
I,
good about Prism Live. I don't know if OBS has it. Surely they do, because if a free one has it, surely the paid one does. And with with the Prism Live, you can use your cell phone as the camera, so you can put your cell phone wherever you want.
so
I like that.
tell me what your opinion about Dylan is. What do you think happened?
I think we're going to find out a very terrifying story once this goes to trial, if she even needs to testify, which she probably will.
I
Um,
believe she's gonna have to. I
yeah,
believe
I
the
think,
defense is gonna call her, even if the prosecution doesn't use her, because
yeah,
she's supposedly identified him as part of the reason he's charged.
yep.
So,
Bushy eyebrows, like really.
yeah,
Um, but I think she saw more than that. I think she saw and heard way more than what's in the PCA, because the PCA is basically, look at it like you're playing poker. All we see is their full house. They're going to lay out that royal flush in trial. That's the way I keep trying to remind myself. We don't know what they're holding.
right.
And
We don't
I
know
think
what
she
they
saw and
haven't
heard
told
so
us.
much, and there's so much that we don't know.
She would have to. If you can
Yeah,
hear somebody say, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," you can hear somebody sobbing, then you have to hear somebody
getting murdered.
stabbing
Yep,
4 people in the house. I mean,
yep.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I think she knows way more, and they have did a great job so far, I think, of protecting her. I know a lot of people have attacked her, and I know we all have questions, and we're like, what? Constantly. But just
Yeah.
consider, they couldn't put that out there. She would have been in direct danger.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, they should. I'm glad they protected her at first. Said she was on the first floor. Maybe
Uh-huh.
played mind
Yeah.
games with Brian, where he thought, well, nobody did see me. I was seeing stuff. I was, but it, you have to think he didn't see her at the same time. But then when you look at that layout
Yeah.
of the house, the way the door opens, it doesn't open where she could crack it and look out and see him walking toward her. It
It
opens
opens into the
where she
room.
would open,
Yeah.
right? So that as she opened the door, he would see that walking by, that door was
But
opened, and when it was closed, and she's standing there. Just the only way to explain that he wouldn't see it is if he had tunnel vision.
exactly, that's what I was going to say. Tunnel vision.
And then when they described that she didn't know who he was, when they saw the figure, they didn't say that she saw a stranger. They said she saw someone that she didn't say she recognized. Why
Mm-hmm.
say that way? That's weird.
Yep.
That it makes it feel like there's a lot more that we're not being told. But if she heard everything, let's assume that you're right, that we're going to hear that she heard a lot more stuff. If she heard all that, why wait 8 hours to call the cops? Like,
Shock. I put out a video on that. You can
shock.
literally disassociate enough in a self-preservation mode to just shut down.
Okay, then
You
was
can
her
shut down for
story out of
hours and
order
days.
though?
I'm sorry.
If she heard everybody, if she heard all the stuff, and then she opened the door in time to see him walk out of the house, she was she was functional enough to shut the door back, lock it, hide in the bedroom, scared, but she didn't contact anybody because of shock. Like that's where
Yeah,
I get
absolutely.
lost right there.
If you look at, and I don't mean to plug my
Or
channel, I
even
really don't,
Bethany.
please, but look
No,
at
go
one of
ahead.
my,
I
my
don't care.
video
I'm
that
not
I
that.
did on Dylan. There's a lady who went through the exact same thing in 1992, exact same scenario. And she lived and she shared her story now. And she explained what happened to her, and it's incredible.
And she
It's so
waited
much like Dylan.
that long before she
Uh
called
huh.
for help
Yeah.
or checked it out.
Yep.
And
She
then
just curled
Bethany.
up in her bed and just stayed there. And
And
she
why?
was just in shock. She didn't. It didn't even hit her for days what she had actually just heard. She thought that her roommate and her boyfriend were having rough,
Yeah, but
and
that's
yeah.
different than hearing. I mean, how many times was each person stabbed?
Hmm. I
That's
know.
a
I hear you. I
lot.
hear you. I
And then
totally
the
hear you.
scuffle with the defensive wounds from Xana, and you have to imagine Ethan since he wasn't on the bed, right? And Steve
Yeah.
said there's a hell of a battle going on down there on the second floor. At that time,
Hmm.
Steve knew that she was on the second floor, did he not? I mean, he knows who's in what rooms of the house for the most part. His kid lived there, he's around. So if
Yes, I'm
he's
so
going saying
glad.
there's a hell of a battle and he didn't have to go up the stairs like he said back then, so it seems like Kaylee and Maddie might have been the targets. But like I said, with the DoorDash and the DoorDash there, he sees DoorDash deliver and then still decides to go in right then anyway. That's
I have a
confusing.
theory on that.
Tell me, because
Okay.
that's
Okay. So if you have you can just put it on your own phone and delete it later, or use a burner phone. In his case, he may have used a burner phone. I think he's actually the one that ordered it. Yet in the PCA, you have to look at not what they say, but also look at what they don't say. If you notice the part on Xana, it says that she was on her phone on TikTok at 4:12 a.m. That she received a DoorDash order at 4 a.m. It doesn't say anywhere in there that she ordered it. There is
right.
nothing in the PCA about her ordering it. Yet, and then okay, so go back to 2:45. 2:45 was when the order shut off for being able to order DoorDash for that house for Burger King in Pullman. He was in Pullman. I think he used the burner app, made the order, and then headed right over there. He didn't realize, oh, it's game night, orders are going to be running late. It took an hour and 15 minutes for the order to go in. But he, remember, it says in the PCA that he turned his cell phone off at 2:48 a.m. He headed straight to the house. He got back to his house at 5:20, I believe. No, 4:58. He was back at his house and turned his phone back on at 5. He shut his phone off 3 minutes after that last order could be made for the food. But he headed straight over there. And that's when he got seen, spotted, circling the neighborhood. He was waiting for that DoorDash order.
But what was the purpose?
The purpose was to get somebody to go to the front door so he could go in the back. Normally it's a louder house and there's a lot going on. It was a quieter night, far quieter than normal. I
But he
think he
couldn't have
intended to
known
do this
that.
around 3 a.m.
He didn't leave his house till 3 a.m. though, so he couldn't have known.
2:48. It's only a 9-minute drive from Pullman, from his house and the Burger King, which were close together.
Right, but we're going the
9-minute
wrong
drive.
direction with the time there. Like if he ordered the DoorDash and turned his phone off 2:48, then he gets there, he waits the hour driving around waiting for DoorDash to deliver. DoorDash delivers, so he sees somebody is up in the house. But you're saying while they were delivering that he went in the back door?
I think that was his purpose, to get somebody at the front door so that he could go in the back and go upstairs. So I think Maddie was actually the target. Kaylee wasn't supposed to be there, remember?
Yeah.
And then I think when he came back down, he encountered Xana, maybe taking her bag or something back to the kitchen, because her bedroom was right off the kitchen. I think that's the only reason that he attacked them. She saw him, ran to her room, and he got both of them.
So you think the intended person was Maddie, but
possibly Kaylee, but yeah, the intended target had to have been on the third floor. But he knew that Xana was there, so he ordered food to get her to the front to give him cover to go in the back. However, he left the sheep, and then when he came back in the morning to try to get it, I think he saw that front door open. And the front door open is what spooked him.
Did you see in chat where somebody said Dylan posted selfies at 8 a.m.?
No, it was at 12:30 p. It was 12:30 a.m. Was her last post.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no social media posts of hers that are real after 12:30 a.m. There are some Photoshop ones that came out early. There was even one that was the one where it claimed that she saw the bodies and all this stuff. That was fake. That was completely fake.
The post that claimed that she saw the bodies.
Yeah,
I guess I missed that. Or what was?
Yes, thank God it got. That was the one video that I went back and deleted because I thought it was real.
And what, it was like an Instagram post from somebody pretending to be Dylan?
Exactly. You can actually go and just Google, make a fake Instagram post or create a fake Facebook post or whatever. And there's sites that you can go to where you type in everything that you want your post to look like, upload your little selfie and everything, and it will literally make you look like you just posted that. Oops, where'd he go? He dropped off. Let's give him a minute.
Sorry.
There you are. I've done that too.
Wrong button.
Oh. Yeah, you can totally create your own post that looks like somebody tweeted something or put something on Facebook or whatever, and it looks legit. You can pick the date and time and everything. And that's what somebody had done, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how the 911
I have it. If you want
to
see it, I can email it to you so you can see what it looked like.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it was debunked, then I don't care to
I'll send it to you, but I'll say, hey, remember, this is fake. Just so you can see what it looked like. It looked totally real.
Have you heard anything come out about Bethany? What Bethany had going on with it at all? Because if the front door was open, that's where she was, is it not? She's the only person on the first floor. Isn't the front door on the first floor?
The front door, that very first bedroom on the front, was basically empty. Um, you would go in and take a left and go down the hallway on the first floor. That was Bethany's room.
Right.
When
But
you're,
she's the
yeah,
only person on the first floor, right?
right. We all thought that Xana was on the first floor as well
You
in the
mean
very first
Dylan?
bedroom. Yes, yes, sorry,
Dylan.
Dylan, yes.
Right. Right. I just, why was the door open on the first floor? He didn't go to the first floor, right? He went in and out
Correct.
of the sliding glass doors? Or
Right.
did
I
he?
think, have you ever opened a door in the front of your house and then a window will make some noise in the other side of your house or a door will pop open that wasn't shut all the way?
Oh, yeah, I do that every time I cook bacon.
There you go.
Have to
You
open
create that
both
draft
doors to
through your
let the
house.
smoke out.
So there's a very good chance that when Xana got that order, she didn't shut the door all the way. So when he came in the back door, when he came in or out,
Yeah, that
he could have
does make
stuck that door
sense.
open.
That does make sense. But
He just didn't know it until he came back by at like 9:15 in the morning, saw that front door open, was like, "Oh, here we go." Somebody's in there, so the cops are going to be coming anytime. He probably even had one of those scanner apps on his phone, listening, waiting for the chaos to begin. It's terrible.
well, I mean, if he did, then he would. When he came back at 9, why not go in and get the sheath if he's listening to the police and knows that they're not coming yet or they're not tipped off to him yet. But what do
He
you
used to, he
think?
he, he thought somebody was in there. Yeah, I think he thought that's just my opinion. I'm just you guys. I'm speculating, just so you know.
So with Dylan, right? You say she could have been in shock for the 8 hours. What do you think brought her out of it to have them call the cops at 11:58? Do you think that's Bethany waking up and going upstairs and finding it all? Because if or did
Yeah,
Dylan just finally come out at 12 o'clock and decide to do something?
try to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
had to do with the bathroom. Either Bethany came up and saw and screamed, or she came out of the bathroom to use the bathroom and saw and screamed. The two girls probably then, ran outside at that time. That's what I think happened.
So wow. I mean, that would be insane to wake up to. Just not so much for Dylan. Dylan saw what she saw, heard what she heard, whatever. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to be in her position whatsoever. That's terrible. But imagine Bethany waking up, coming upstairs, and it's just that way.
Yeah, it's awful. And
But
we totally don't have any clue what Bethany may or may not know. She may know a lot as well, and we just don't know. So I'm good
right,
that they
yeah,
are keeping all of that very quiet.
I think that they. I mean, I think it could be. Bethany might have heard something too. Maybe they both hid in the room together or something. You never know. You never know. It
And
could be just
somebody
about anything.
and somebody in chat just said, channel with no name. I like that. Could have had earphones in. That's totally possible. I sleep with earbuds too sometimes.
Who could have had earbuds in? Bethany?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, possibly. I could see her not hearing anything because she's in a
Right.
separate addition to the house. Like the part of the house she's in is built at a different time than the part of the house everybody else is in. So there's going to be outdoor insulation in between them and the walls, most likely, and then a whole floor. So I can see Bethany
Exactly.
not hearing anything. I think hers is just the coming up and coming in. And then you have Dylan. Dylan's the one I can't get over. And I don't get the attack of her. I'm not saying that she did something or she was involved in it, but just there's too much missing from that story. There's more to that, and we're not getting the whole story, and it doesn't make sense. And that's the only explanation for me, like right now in my mind, is that we just don't have all the information. If
Exactly.
we
But
did, it
I
would
think
make a
I think
lot
we
more
will.
sense. When we get to trial and we should they when they go to trial, they'll lay it out in a timeline. and then you'll get the whole timeline of events going through of what is known, then we'll be a lot better. But for
Yes.
now, with the police making sure they don't want to let out certain details, which I still don't really understand that. I get you don't want too much to be put out so that the defense could use it against you, but the defense is going to get all the evidence that the state has anyway, so they're going to know it.
But they don't. They're not going to have it for quite a while. You know, we have prelim at the end of June, and it's going to be months after that before they even get to discovery. They don't want to give
Right,
away anything until they absolutely have to.
right. That's but they're going to eventually get it. So I don't see how it coming out earlier could hurt. I mean, it could help the defense prepare for it, I guess.
Exactly. Yep. That's the
But
whole point. Yep. They're not going to show their hand yet.
I think they absolutely should have to.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Right now?
I don't trust no, I mean not to the public, but to the
Okay, gotcha.
defendant.
Oh, to the
Like,
defendant. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, if
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was the defendant and you wouldn't tell me what the case against me is, oh, we have a problem. You know,
Yeah. I'd be
that's
screaming to the
scary,
media for
you
sure.
know. Just I'm
Yeah.
not a big give a lot of power to government type of person. I'm
Uh.
not crazy
No.
with it either, but at the same time, like, I'm gonna say as little as I can about myself all the time, and I'm gonna try to keep my private life out of the government's eyes, even if I feel like
Yep.
I'm doing nothing wrong.
Yep. I one of my favorite channels on YouTube is the lawyers that have the Shut the F Up Friday videos. I love them. They're
Um,
funny. They're very funny. Yep.
yeah. I think that's a lot of the reason that I look at the case and the evidence and stuff the way I do, because I always look at things like, okay, would I be okay if I were in the situation? If I were innocent in that situation and it was this way to me, would I be okay with that? And I try to make that fair across the board, regardless, because, they're innocent until proven guilty, regardless of what we think or what it looks like. We've thought people were dead nuts guilty and they've been found innocent. We've thought people were completely innocent and they've been found guilty. So
Yep.
until
Yeah, a
all the
lot comes
information
out.
is there, it's hard. It's hard.
It is, it is. And a lot of people are saying, well, if he was innocent, he wouldn't have waived his right to a speedy preliminary
Yeah, I
hearing.
completely disagree there. That
Yeah.
makes no sense to me. Your
No, you
life is
want your
hanging on the
defense to have
line.
a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm give up 6 months to have the rest of my life any day than to rush it and end up thrown in prison, because
Exactly.
he's going to take it to trial. If he,
Yeah.
I highly doubt he accepts a plea deal because he thinks he can outsmart them. So he's probably not going to take the plea deal and take a 20-year to life sentence when he can get the death penalty if he fights it in trial. He's going to still fight it in trial because he thinks he can outsmart them.
Yeah.
And it's the
Narcissist.
FBI is investigating the case, but I've seen I've seen a lot of people talk about how the federal government has a 99.8%, but this isn't the federal government. This is the state of Idaho. You
Yeah.
know, it's a little different. The federal government has a 99.8% rate because that's how they play the game. You either admit guilt and accept the plea deal of 5 years, or we're going to give you 155 years.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
And the people just accept it because they don't arrest until they have years of investigations on top. But the state of Idaho, cases get beat that shouldn't be beat. And I mean, this every state, not just Idaho. I'm not trying to put Idaho down, but state cases, they go bad sometimes.
They do. They do.
It's not super easy to prove something beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, it's
And
not.
as
No.
irritating as it is when you start looking at it and you're like, okay, well, this obviously looks like he's guilty. But if it's not proven beyond a reasonable doubt, you can't support that, finding of guilty unless you would put yourself in the same position and
Oh yeah.
say, you know,
I
you're thinking a
hate
lot of times,
cases. I hate cases that get guilty verdicts based only on circumstantial evidence. That
That's
bugs me
scary.
so bad. I see it happen all the time. Knowing and proving is a completely different thing. But hey,
Exactly.
I'm gonna hop down so somebody else can get up. I'll be down and chat.
Well, I'm about to end it anyway, but I appreciate
Okay.
everybody stopping by. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
I'm
no
about to
problem.
go to
Anytime.
bed. Got work in the morning.
All right. I'll see you later.
We'll see ya.
All
Have a
right.
good
Bye.
night, everybody, and I appreciate you guys coming by. We'll figure this live thing out one day or another.